Hello there, English speakers. Today we'll talk a little bit about CNN in Ivermectin and some other very interesting stuff. So let's start with taking a big, deep breath. So, there was actually something very interesting coming out from CNN and Project Veritas there. It seems like they actually believe their own bullshit. So, they were, for example, talking about Tucker Carlson in this internal meeting when they thought no one was listening into them. And they said that Tucker Carlson, the least racist person in media. He always says that race shouldn't be a factor in anything. But they actually think that he is a white supremacist. And they really believe that. So then you can realize, do they actually believe all their lies? And I don't think so, but they do seem to, most of them, believe most of the lies. So that's even more scary than if they just were lying. If they just were lying, then it would be easy to fix. But they actually believe in these fairy tales and the brainwashing that they are copying to others that they already have themselves. So scary and interesting. For better news, at least for one state in Mexico, Chiapas, if I pronounce that correctly, they were distributing a cocktail of different drugs and ivermectin to everyone in their state since July. And now there is a lot of COVID in entire Mexico, except in this state that is basically quite normal, not affected at all, and they have no big amount of death at all. In Romania, I've linked to an article there that you can read in horrible English, auto-translated. They are starting to discuss this ivermectin even more. So in Eastern Europe they seem to have some journalists and pundits that actually can read a study. I would highly recommend that you follow this account on Twitter called COVID-19 Crusher, and you will quickly learn more than the entire establishment and all the doctors in your country almost. So interesting that they work, while here in Sweden we read article after article about people arguing bullshit. Should we have lockdowns? Should we have masks? And is the statistics wrong or right? And they are just going on and on about useless shit. These people should not be paid for writing stuff they don't know about. It's very annoying. But a small study from Bangladesh that didn't say so much about the ivermectin, but it seems to work well. But they gave it a little bit too late to give it a big effect. You should, in best case, give ivermectin even before you get sick. And then we have an interesting in vitro study. I've talked about this black cumin a lot, and it seems to have really good effects against viruses. So they tried against SARS-CoV-2, the virus behind COVID, and they tried a lot of substances from, for example, black cumin. So one is Hesperidin, that you can find in peppermint and citrus, and Carvacrol, and that comes from black cumin, Oregano or Thyme. And Thymol actually comes from Thyme and Oregano, not from organ. And then thymoquine, another substance that you can find in black cumin. So Black cumin, citrus, oregano seems like a good cocktail to give to people. This is only a study in vitro, that's in a lab, not in a human being. But it looks very promising, and we have this study from Pakistan with honey and black cumin that was extremely successful. So we have more things that works. What do the establishment do? What do the journalists do? And what do they research? They spend months researching about long COVID and came up with absolutely nothing. Thank you. So USA, Trump called this the most important speech he has ever made. And he goes into detail how bad this election fraud is and so on. I guess people should watch it. I don't know if... Yeah, we have already reported about all the shenanigans and how they have cheated in so many different ways. One interesting thing about Pennsylvania, they have put in a law that's against the Constitution about mail-in voting. So you were not allowed to make a lawsuit about this before the election because you don't have standing. That means no one has been suffering from this law that broke the Constitution. So they just threw it out because the election is not held. After the election, the same court says, but you should have filed a lawsuit long ago when this law was introduced. So now it's too late, so we can't actually consider this at all. No one is refuting the evidence. The law is against the Constitution, and they did do it, and it should be thrown away. So there's nothing there. So instead they do this legal bullshit. And of course this court belongs in prison, not in a courthouse. This kind of annoying way of turning the law upside down to just be a total ass. It's really annoying. I got some comments, and this have been circulating since the beginning. This Spanish study where they use calcifidiol and got really good results on people who are about to head into ICU, and 96% of them didn't have to go to ICU compared to the control. So the question is, did they set up this study to fail and failed with making it fail? Is that the reason why they used calcifidiol instead of D3 or vitamin D? And these researchers that did this excellent study, they had been arguing for calcifidiol a long time ago because it doesn't have to go through the liver, so you get it straight into your blood, and the only thing that's needed is for your kidneys to do something about it, to get it into the final form. So it works very well, and I have tested this 2 years ago. So there was a good reason to use it, and this idea that this study was set up to fail, and that seems to be someone who has some other strange opinion. But no, this study was not set up to fail. So you don't have to comment that again, but thanks for all comments, even the ones that are wrong, because they are also important, because then I can correct them. And short news from Sweden. One of the top guys in our Center Party is support for the current government. He had a friend that have been thrown in jail because he was raping a lot of children. Then he had another friend, number 2, who fantasizing about raping babies and had been convicted for child pornography. And of course the leader of the Center Party also know that guy. And now it turns out he had a third friend that he had been dating that have raped boys and gone to prison for it. Nice guy. He's like hanging out with all the worst child sex offenders, and he can't resist them apparently. And the worst thing is this guy, Federley, has his own daughter, which someone needs to investigate. And top of this, he is now taking a break from his work in the European Parliament. He doesn't feel well. Did he feel well when he was hanging out with his friend that had raped a lot of young girls? No, he didn't feel bad when he found out about that. That was totally okay. It was when this was revealed to the press, then he felt bad. He doesn't care about the raped children. He only wants to hang out with the criminals. This is disgusting. And the worst part, it seems to like the entire party is more or less also involved in similar people like this. I guess there will be updates about this over and over again. At least it's getting revealed now, so that's good. And we end this by diggy. So that's important. With that, yeah, we apparently end the digging here.